day, good day. Peace, love, light, and laughter. Gratitude for all who are joining. Let me look at this right here, good y'all. Yes, we are. Peace. Welcome. Sheree L. If you
what up,
would. What up, though? We chilling now. You want to talk to him first, matriarch?
Well, how do we get here?
How do we get here? Well, we got here because a few things. Now, today's topic actually literally pulled the past, which some people say don't exist, only the present exists. Okay, it pulled that and it pulled the future. It pulled like everywhere into this moment I'm about to tell y'all about. So what had happened was I was on a call. Yeah, we was on the phone. And we was just, well, I don't remember, we was talking about art, a future show, we was talking about something, like that. Was it that? Something like that?
We were talking about everything. Then the owl showed up. Not the owl, the hawk.
Showed up. Sitting on my car. I was like, matriarch, you will not. And she was like, what? And I was like, look at this hawk sitting on my car. And she was like, huh? She was like, and I was like, hold on. Did the hawk just move to the sign? Or no, first the hawk.
No, it went to the roof first.
Went to the roof. Then it went to the ground. Then it went to the sign. And I was like, and I got more pictures. This is all I got right now. I was like, what? And then it went from there. So somewhere in there, would you unravel that story, that experience? Because I was in the moment. So I don't even remember the timeline of that hawk sitting on my car. Message.
Major message. Okay, yes. The hawk was first. You and I were on the phone call. We conversating, kicking the willy bobos, as people would say, and then you say, it's a hawk on my car, matriarch, and it's just looking right up this way. Okay, how about you give me a video? Let's see what's going on with this hawk. Hawk staring at you. Your daughter goes outside. People walking by.
She said she going to go talk to the hawk.
Okay.
Then the people's walking by. Remember that.
The people walking by. The hawk flies away. It wasn't bothering nobody. People walking by, then they decide to say something. The hawk flies to the corner of the building.
Yes.
Didn't go far though.
Yeah. Because my daughter was outside and she saw the hawk fly to the corner of the building.
Because she was going to go talk to your mom.
Yes.
And then
to my mom.
My bad. My apology. I'm going a little bit too farther ahead. So
okay.
The hawk was on the corner of the building. So your daughter is out there with the other people. Then there's conversation between you and these people. Get away from your car. Don't put no messages on your car. No, they interrupting the messages trying to come through already. Then you decide, okay, well, I'm going to go outside to my car.
And I'm going to sit in the car and watch this hawk.
And the hawk is watching you. Watching it.
I was like,
and
do you
got
see
me
this?
on the
I had your video call.
You got me on video watching the hawk, watching you, watching it, watching me, watching it. So I'm like, okay, what is this hawk? This hawk is got a message. Then it goes from the building to the ground, and it's still looking directly at you or at your
Mm-hmm.
vehicle. I don't want to be specific. I'm just gonna say in your direction.
Here. Yeah.
And it's also looking at the building as well,
Building. Yes.
between you and the building. Okay, so then it goes up to the sign. Sitting on this sign is looking between you and your building.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had to be on the phone like what, maybe the first time 25 minutes or so, and it was there.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, okay, well, what is the message that the talk is trying to relay?
Yeah. Do y'all know the message the hawk is relaying? Go share your feedback. Matriarch. So what was you saying the message was?
So I kept saying that that's either your mother or your grandmother. Listen for the message.
I was like, okay. And you told me receive the message, something like that.
Yep, just be open to the message. You don't know what it is, just be open to it.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, the hawk flies into a tree. Into the tree, not for no, it flew away at that point. I think it went into another building over that way. And
Yeah,
went
I went to
into
the building next to that one.
yeah, the building next door. The conversation between you and I kind of went into what the message could possibly be, what other things could possibly be going on. Okay, and then you said, "Let me call you back. I got to make a call. I got to return this call." So I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay." When you call me back, though, now you're in a entirely different mind state.
I was like, oh, I got your message.
Message was
Kind of
received. Part of it, I
message.
should say.
Part of it.
And it's the moon fox. And she's got questions about the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Now, while you and I are talking about the conversation you had with her, the hawk comes back.
Comes back. And it's looking at me again.
And the first time he came back, he landed on your car while you were in the car. And you turned your car because you were about to start you started the car up. You turned it off so that the hawk wouldn't leave.
Right.
You and the hawk are still chilling. Actually, all three of us are chilling at this point.
Yes.
Okay, so we chilling, kicking it with the hawk looking back and forth at us. Okay, well, what's the message? Boy, that's your mom. I'm not sure. That's when we got into the conversation about your mom and her connection to Moonfox and the questions
Yes.
that Moonfox was asking. And it just went
Yes.
from that point forward, it was like a blah, 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 blah. It just was coming out.
Yes. And I
And
was
then
like,
at that point, once it started flowing, the hawk finally flew away and didn't come back.
yes. Yes. So as something like you said, like the hawk was there until the message was received and the flow started. So now, first of all, for those who don't know, my mother transitioned years ago. For those that don't know, um, family thing is what it is. Now, those of you who don't know my granddaughter, you don't know who Moon Fox is, etc. Where is she at? She right here. She right here. Let me remove. Let me move us right quick. Okay, so that's Moon Fox. Now, Moon Fox, she named herself Moon Fox. We're gonna leave her right here for a second. She named herself Moon Fox at a cultural event a few years ago. And she learned some things while she was there. She met some people she was already aware of per social media. And one of those people, she has her crystals. She has her experience with crystals. And she also has her experience with what else was it? Now I had a guest on my platform, Karmic Dynasty, and he created a tarot reading set, tarot card set. And I promoted that over there. So I had the cards, and so Moonfox has had her experience with those cards, and she actually does readings. No joke, no lie. And she got a few different techniques she'll use. She reads tarot cards, and um, they happen. Her readings, they happen. I'm not gonna tell too much of her business. And also, per my Karmic Dynasty time recently, I had a astrology series I was a part of, and she watched me prepare for one of those episodes, and she was actually on the panel with us discussing astrology. So the crystals, the tarot, and astrology. That's her, the brief of this conversation we sharing about her today for right now. I don't know what's gonna happen for right now though. So it's like the thing, these gifts of hers. I'm gonna call them gifts for them. All of those three gifts I just mentioned were she received directly from my influence, per her mother's permission. So at this point in the conversation today, she called me and she was like, "Mama, you know my Zodiac?" And I was like, "Hmm." And then she proceeded, she was quizzing me because she already know. She proceeded to tell me everybody's Zodiac in her household and mine. I said, "Oh, she been studying? This girl about to turn 9 years old. She talking about some astrology." I'm like, okay. So I'm talking to matriarch Sharice over here. And I'm like, wow, what this child. I'm just like awestruck, awestruck. So all this is telling me at the time is, and y'all probably picked it up too, she ready for next level. She done been on Karmic Dynasty. She been on the astrology panel. She was on Karmic Dynasty sharing the story about her crystals with y'all. This ain't undocumented. I'm not telling y'all nothing y'all don't know. Now, in the tarot readings, I think I might have mentioned she gave me a reading, but she ain't actually read publicly yet. Maybe she ready. But definitely she ready for next level. So she proceeded to ask me if our two signs, my sign and her sign, we were compatible. I'm like, what you know about? I said, you know what? You already know from sitting on Momo's panel that I don't roll with that uh, Western tropical astrology, zodiac stuff. I just don't roll with it. So, we got to write our own story. So I said, what would you say is our compatibility? And she was like, because do we get along? I said, well, do we get along, Mel? She was like, yeah, I say so. I said, well, there you go. There's your story. You need to learn. You need to not learn because she know, but you go ahead and finish creating your story. Don't look to them books or Google or Wikipedia or nothing else to tell you about astrology. All right. So that's the gist of that. So then we went into and I may again be out of order in this context of this timeline. And matriarch, she got me, she gonna set me straight. She gonna set me straight. Come on. And so somewhere in there we start talking about what we was talking about. How we get to I got notes. I was taking notes. We was talking. I'm gonna have to probably refer to my notes. So we went and we start talking about my mother's my mother, she studied astrology. As y'all, you know me, you know that. And astrology and that Bible, that was what my mama was about for the most part in life. Were the things like reading and puzzles. But where we from, what we up here talking about, astrology and the Bible. Not too much the Bible today, but astrology. And she studied them. She had back in the day, they, and people still do it today. But back then, wasn't all this note taking stuff like we got notepad and notes in our app in our phone. She goes in that book and she underlines stuff. She writes stuff in the margins, get her yellow highlighter. That was my mama. So I'm like, Lucille already on this, and Moonfox, my granddaughter. And right now, I think I'm about to start rambling. Matriarch, can you redirect this course where we at?
So you and Moonfox were talking about. She was asking. Well, she was describing all the different zodiacs that are in her space, and then talking about how you all get along. She was asking you about her zodiac. Then you and I got into our own conversation.
Okay. So I'm gonna take it this way, because I'm gonna take it this way. We can always come back around. This is how we gonna flow right now. So I remember talking about things the children know. I was talking about things the children know based on we taking it from the standpoint, the last parent my last YouTube video, Rod Hayes was on there. Okay. And
Yes.
no. I think what I got was from Rod's live on his IG. Either way, he was talking about, he was talking about children. That was on his IG the other night. He was talking about children and that birthing lamp, the
Oh yeah.
birthing room in the hospital, that
Right.
light. Yeah, y'all go check that out. Go check out Rod. And I might be paraphrasing, or I might have made my own shit up, but this is what I'm saying. The light in the birthing room wipes away the children's memory from remembering who they came in with memory. That light takes away their memory. So my thought was this, because not every child is born in a hospital, and that birthing light to take away their memory, hypnotize them. And
Yeah.
so I was like, well, sometimes, so that, you know what? We was talking, I was like, that birthing light is that child's first son. For those not born in
Right.
the hospital, in that birthing light, their first son is the one outside. But this birthing light, it takes the place to wipe the child's memory until they get exposed to that sun outside. And how that sun outside is what has hypnotized us into this spell. And for some children, and then there's I think Rob went on to talk about how when the children get in school, and then that's when they start to continue to program them outside of their memory. And my thing is this, for children who's homeschooled, like Moonfox, my granddaughter, those homeschool children, they don't get that school exposure that wipes away their memory with the constant repetition and the programming.
Right.
And so this was my illustration. When we're in school, we went to school, they told us somewhere we learned that the sun was yellow. Somewhere we learned that the sun was yellow. They told us, they had us in school pick up our yellow crayon, and we drew the picture. But they probably did it first. Somebody in that classroom in kindergarten, preschool, whatever, picked up that yellow crayon and drew the sun. They probably already had a pre-done picture, and you colored in yellow picture. If somebody in there painting that, coloring that sun pink, oh, the teacher gonna look at them sideways. Because that's not the example I just gave you, young child. I'm gonna have to write a note to your parents. So this is what happened. Her moonfox sighting. I said on my one of my shows previously. We was outside walking, and Moonfox said, "Mama, the sun is black." I said, "Yes, ma'am, it's black." Now the thing is, without that programming, children like her still see the original color of everything. Then they want to put them on a spectrum scale and all this other stuff because they have not went through the system and got programmed. And time after time, they pick up their yellow crayon, and this ain't yellow, but y'all roll with me, and they color the sun yellow. So they start to see the sun is yellow. Sharice had pointed out some other colors. We're gonna get into that right now. I'm gonna bring our other guests to the panel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Unmute your mic.
Peace to the family. Much love. Hodak and divine alignment to all the family now and in the future and in the past. Gratitude for the synchronistic wisdoms and light that are being brought forward from the Magic School Bus.
Okay.
That's right.
He
That's
done brought
right.
that up. School buses. We talking about school. Cherie, if you would discuss the other colors we was talking about earlier
Okay,
with
so
us.
like with the sun, Moonfox stated that the sun was black to her when she saw it prior to her being exposed to whatever else is, the indoctrination or the veil being put on over the children once they enter into that quote unquote system. Okay, so when I look up at the
The
sun, we were
chariot.
talking about the sun, okay, but my eyes see different hues. So even at nighttime, I have issues with the lights. I see the purple hue or the magenta hue that other people don't see in the light. Even with the sun, I see the red and the black. The different tones. It's a mind control that's going on even as we speak, with even the
What
lights.
else is up? The other objects up by the sun. You was talking about the colors.
Oh, yes. So obviously I was using one of the apps that show us the moon, the sun, the stars, the satellites, and etc. And looking at the moon and Saturn and how they were so close to.
The sky and the
Okay.
clouds. Okay.
So we looking at, I know I'm
Gotcha.
jumping because we talked about so much.
I do the same thing. I got you.
Okay, so they tell us that the sky is blue, yet it's not blue. Because even if it's a reflection of the water is not blue. So it's still not a reflect. Am I making sense? It's not a reflection because it's not blue. They'll tell
Right.
us to color in the cloud and say, oh, the cloud is white. Well, the cloud is not even white.
They get gray. It's so interesting because it's all this is the situation of living in a matrix or holographic reality where all of these portals are all of the portals are essentially hues to the light spectrum, and the light spectrum is we own it's alleged that only 1% of this light spectrum is visible, when in actuality it depends on the user, it depends on the observer, because everything in this matrix is essentially vibrational frequency, intangible intangible reality. So it's polarity and duality. So when we speak about gazing at the sun, right? I've gazed at the chariot, because I call the sun that we see in the sky a chariot, because it's different energies that are able to um, entities that are able to project energies through the sun. So with that being said, like one time I seen a little black dot bouncing around inside the sun, and the sun looked like a white disc. and there was like an eye. So it's like an eye in the sky that's just looking down, and then it correlates to the black sun, which is different from the sun that we see in the sky, because the black sun is the sun that everybody sees, that you see on those like news, like the space weather channels and stuff like that. They're looking at the black sun, the galactic sun. And then we get information from that galactic sun through our solar plexus, or through what's called a solar cord or lunar cord, depending on your genealogy. And when you in the Mayans, they used to call it a Kuksan Sum, or they call the black sun Hanap Ku. And your Kuksan Sum in Mayan culture is how you are able to receive the information directly from the black sun, or the Hanap Ku, or the central sun, or Sirius.
Serious.
Okay. So that was one of the sons. So then here was my other point. When it comes to, so with the programming, here goes an example of how we got programmed with that yellow crayon and that piece of paper in preschool, kindergarten. Whenever you got a hold to and you start coloring the sun yellow, and slowly you started seeing that black sun turn yellow through the programming. So this is it. So you know how people some people will abuse you verbally. Some people are abused verbally. Now the abuser will say, "Oh, you ain't shit. You ain't nothing." Be like, who they talking to? I'm everything. You better go sit down. But over time, they keep saying it. And then you start to hang your head low. You're like, am I not shit? Am I not nothing? And soon, at some point, they have you like, I ain't shit. I ain't worth nothing. They slowly had you turn from knowing you everything to knowing you ain't shit. And that's the same thing happened with that sun. That yellow crayon steady going across that paper all that time, you got hypnotized. And then the sun looking at you steady hypnotized when you go outside the recess. That's why they don't got recess past past elementary school, because at that point you already gone. You don't need no more recess time. You need more of that programming time. I need y'all to be aware. So then Sharice was talking about her app, which she started on earlier with y'all. But I think we're gonna talk more about your app now, the app
That's
experience.
that's interesting. I went to a vending experience this week, and there was a sister there, and she asked me if I was aware of like power letters. And this was a new science to me, but I just followed my intuition, and after like listening to like my power letters, she said that I'm an app. So it's interesting, because these applications is just how we apply different strategies and tools of conveyance.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I was using this app. Um, I don't recall which app. Don't want to give them any kudos anyway. But while using it, it was not, the sun was not down yet, obviously. So I was charting where the sun is going to come down at, and where the moon is going to rise at. And right at the apex is where I saw the water reflection. I think that would be what you would call it. Yeah. Um, it looked like water, but it was more of a looking down up under me. There's, as if we were on a flat plane. There, that right there, the ripples. Okay, so it was the flat plane, but then the ripples were up under, and then the over, and then of course now I'm looking at the other stars that are up under us, and etc. And still charting. Although that ripple and where the con doing like this.
It's a that's a arc. It's called parabola. I think it's called a
Parabellum.
parabola. A
Okay.
parabola, or a curved arc, in a sense.
So this arc is what you're describing is what met right here, and then the mirror image, almost like as if it were our if doppelgangers or the
Mm-hmm.
other side of us or another us except on the other side, although the stars are all in the same location.
Yes. And it's so funny. Like I recently did a reading, and she wanted to know about twin flames. And I've been telling people that we're living simultaneously in two realities where it's the above and the below, and your double ganger isn't somebody walking around on this plane. It's literally another it's you experiencing you in reverse. So we're coming to a point where we gonna collide. And just like how in, I think, what was the show, the Vampire Diaries, it was the twins, and when they came together, one would consume the other. And when you consume your you can either consume your twin flame, or you can marry your twin flame, but you both can't exist in the same dimension. And
Mm.
that's something that isn't really spoke on when you learning about twin flames, because there's a difference between twin flames and soul ties. Your soulmates and your soul ties, those are the people that you have external. Your twin flame is an internal thing. It is not something that like, to have an external twin flame is kind of like having like a split soul, in a sense, where like you actually have a twin in this life, and y'all have a split soul, and y'all are working on merging it back together, because your energy probably was too powerful to come in through one vessel.
Wow.
Now, I got hype and excited because what you just talked about is what we talked about today. It's in my notes. So yeah, we're not going with the timeline of how these events happen today. We're rolling with this energy. So, oh my goodness. Say the one part again where you live in simultaneously
So
for me,
on my
please.
Instagram, I have a picture of the tree of life, and it's showing the above realm and the below realm. It's on my ASAP 10 page. It's like one of my pin posts, and it's to literally show the duality and the polarity of this physical realm. So, right, Gaia, Earth, Kai, whatever you want to call the planet realm that we're existing on this plane of existence, right? Gaia, the Earth, is not flat, is not hollow, is not round.
He going into the next topic too. Go,
The
go
Earth
ahead.
is flat, hollow, and round at the same time. Nothing exists. We are everything. We are nothing. We are life and death and light and chaos and the good and the bad. It's the polarity, the duality that everything is, was, and will be now, because now is forever eternal. So where are you right now?
That was the question that I had brought up. Like, well,
Breathe, deep breath, deep breath.
okay.
I'm sorry, we had to calm down. We was so hyped. This conversation probably started about 4 o'clock. We could not wait to get up here and then we all calm. But boy, we was hype. Okay, breathing.
Okay, so exactly what you're talking about is what we were just talking about earlier today as well. The
Syncretism.
and I done got warm all over again.
Okay, because me too. I was like right here.
The light. Can we go back to the babies
Let's
and
go.
being born
Let's
and
go.
that light that first we were speaking about where in the movie they cloned Tyrone, and with
Yes.
the avatars, they put the light over their face to remove whatever memories was there, and then to put in the memories that they wanted them to have at that point, or
Hmm.
putting back in the memories, because that's when they gave the main character the memory of his said brother
Hmm.
that he realized that he never had. You know what I'm saying though? So when they're babies and they're born in that hospital and that veil is put over them to where they cannot see what actually is real, or as with Rod, when Rod was saying about how our vision is flipped, or we're upside down people because we're seeing in reverse, like we were talking about the north, south, east, and west, and I was saying no, it's not north, south, east, and west. It's west, east, south, and north.
Yeah, they got our directions flipped turned upside down. So with the map, it's not even just like that's that's turned right side up, but then it's also flipped around backwards. So we still looking at it wrong because it's not even scaled properly. Like
Okay,
that's
so
not the
now,
actual geographic scaling of like the land masses. So like this is the map that this is the map that we're used to, right?
mhm.
They did this and then this.
And yeah,
You're not seeing nothing that is authentic, real, because they got us looking through a mirror at other reflections to figure out what's inside. Now, how do you figure out how to get back to where you started? You gotta flip it. You gotta go through a little something, and you gotta log down what you went through.
you gotta smack it up, flip it, and rub it down.
You feel me? Everything that was
And
done,
it
you
goes,
gotta
oh
undo.
no.
Got to put some energy up in there and get it really get a full center standing, so you can get a full 360-degree perspective of what is actually sitting right before you. So then you are now able to flip it and unfold it in this cubic matrix hologram, uh dodecahedronic hologram 1012 on a 2255 flip, that allows you to be in harmony with what is literally right in front of your face. So you're not confused, because everything that they've given us is an overload of information. Like, so many people are drowning in information because it's so much, and then there's so many different perspectives. It's just, it's too much.
Okay, so speaking on perspective, if we are out in space, which way is up or down, north or south, east or west at that point?
360 degrees.
It's everything is all around, right? Because even shooting
Because
a gun out in space, the bullet won't go anywhere. So out in space is faster than a bullet when they say that bullet is faster than the speed of time.
and and then it's all these different, like, it's the what is it, the indoctrination. It's the indoctrination for the simple fact that we have forgotten that we are at war. Like, and then with all the, we are all the peace to the king. But it's for the simple fact that we are always in this state of transition. It's been difficult for collectively us to find a foundation as a people, like in the Americas specifically, to be able to, well, I'm not going to say like it has, I'm not saying that it has not been done before. I'm saying that in the structure in which is being asked of nature, the collective consciousness is not in alignment. And it's for the simple fact that we are building the bridges of the neural network that is Gaia, that is this tree of the above and the below. Because after like certain timelines, because we are multidimensional, right? So everything is water. Water, where there's water, there is life. Because water is an alien to this planet, truth be told. And once, because water houses the memory and it houses the consciousness, so you bring these different consciousnesses to uh different reflections, it then grows and expands, which it's watering the tree of life. And then this tree has different forms. You got oak trees, pine trees, it's all trees. You still call it a tree, but it's just oak, pine, cedar. It's a tree. And that's why when you get into like Nordic pantheon or mythology, it's like they have the Celtics. They correlated trees with the zodiac, and we all know that the zodiac is literally the map, your map of the stars on your profile to this matrix. This one specifically, because there's multiple matrices and universes. So, in order for us to navigate, it's no longer northeast, west, south, because then when you get into a quantum level or into like a mystic aspect of realm, there's in and out. There's it's macro micro. So being able to scale things on a different level so that you can take a principle and be able to use it to a circumstance or recognize a situation or issue or a difficulty and push forward, because you take yourself out the situation and you grasp a 360-degree perspective of what is happening, because it's not just a circle, it's a spiral for real, because the thumb is pointing. It's a spiral. We spiral in life. When a heart forms in a zygote, it forms in a spiral. It's the golden uh, spiral of love, which is also looked at through the Schumann resonance, which is where we get that connection between the earth and the sun, the radiation, the plasma, where it all comes full circle back together. The above, below, the stars above, stars below.
Okay, I have a question for you that I asked Joy earlier today. I had to write it down because I didn't want to forget it. Okay, has to do with the northern lights or the aurora borealis. They're also called the southern lights. So they're the northern and southern lights. How is it, or why is it that they're the northern and the southern lights at the same time? And why is it that we have to go all the way around this way to get to right what's on the other side of those said aurora borealis or northern southern lights? And if it's northern southern lights, why is it northern and southern at the same location? Why would it not be northern here and southern here, or this way? Am I making sense?
Yes. So like imagine, so we don't, the misconception is that we live in Earth. We live on Earth. So the difference between living in Earth and on Earth is, imagine that this metal contraption that is used for safe purposes is a donut, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this donut, instead of it like being like there's a hole in the middle, right? So we live like on this surface, but it has a aura or a magnetic field, a bioelectric dielectric field. And we all have biofields because our heart is directly associated to the biofield and your immune system, all that stuff. In the biofield that is protecting the earth or is electromagnetizing the earth into its form, it is protecting the earth from different rays and radiation from the sun. So it's that's where we get those lights being dragged across the planet, because the literal radiation from these other bodies is impacting the Earth.
Okay, so then since we're speaking on these lights that are there, what cause what causes these lights to have the reaction that they have with the atmosphere there?
So, say for instance, like there's a solar flare that goes off when. So we're also going through a planetary pole shift as well, because the energy, the Earth got, because of the history that's taken place on the Earth has now had to go through a different cycle and cleansing, refreshing, and rotation. So this rotation is causing the absorption and the deflection of different energies that are being sent out in the cosmos in our solar system to have a direct effect on how we perceive light on the physical, because we are still in the prism, the light matrix.
I cannot
Hold
hear
on.
you, Matriarch.
Yeah, I was just about to say my sound went out.
Okay, my apologies. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I was having this conversation with my son the other day about the aurora borealis and the energies that are at. He said that he feels like it's spirits or our ancestors that are rotating up there at the aurora borealis or at the north where the northern and southern lights meet. That's where all of he feels that that's where all of our ancestors, all the past spirits, that's where they go and meet at before they decide to go where they're going to next.
Like a gateway in a sense, and they
Yeah.
put it in the cartoons like Avatar Korra, where I think that yeah, that's actually real life. In Avatar Korra, they show how like you can go from the North Pole to the South Pole by walking through a certain energetic gateway, and this is essentially how we used to travel from Africa to America to different parts of Pangaea through these different gateways and portals, because it's through the grid lines of the Earth, and these energetic ley lines have different energetic signatures that tie into the atmosphere, and there are different consciousness that exist in those different atmospheres, because everything in these atmospheres is different densities of water. So you have gaseous beings or like plasma beings, and that's why you get technology interferences when you start talking about certain things, because it's the plasma,
Okay, so you
which
said
is another
like
form
in
of
water,
water.
right? Okay,
Yeah,
that was going
plasma.
to be
Yeah,
my next question. So then, is it possible that what we're looking at as sky is actually water?
absolutely. Just like like outer space, all of it is water. It's just different densities of water.
Okay, and now you also said that different energy or spirits, you said the same thing, but in a different terminology. They're walking through that, like the avatar, walking through
Yeah, they're
the.
existing in those states of being as like plasma or gaseous, and it's just not necessary. It's a physical thing, but it's not as dense as these bodies. So they have bodies. It's just not as dense as these physical, like flesh, the earth, the sake, the earth. Yes.
Okay, I'm learning.
In my enlightenment studies, because
It's
then again,
connecting
like we
dots.
said before, it isn't none of that.
Right, because either way, it's like you said, we're all of that and none of that all at the same time. If we didn't have the darkness, we wouldn't be able to see the light or to know that that was light. If we didn't have light, we wouldn't know that that was darkness. If we didn't have left, we wouldn't know that it was right. If we didn't have up, we wouldn't know there was a down. If we didn't have in, we wouldn't know that there was a out. So
The
obviously,
polarity,
outer space and inner space.
yeah. The macro and the micro. It's
Macro
the
and
the the
micro.
biofields, the quantum fields, and it's the
The
water.
procession and precession.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
Procession and pro and pre.
Hmm. And
The
you also talked about the mispronunciation of
process.
progress.
Process.
Progress.
Progress or progress. Progress.
Progress and
Progress.
process is still like the same thing because it's like prog. What is prog? What is a
Right.
pro? Prog and pro is two different Ebonic concepts. And when we speak our different dialects, we often look over syntax due to diction. And the difference between syntax and diction is word choice versus the way the words were said. Because often people don't mean what they say. They say words, but it's not what they meant to say.
And then they
So
want
it
to retract them.
and be like, but and then you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you got what I'm saying though.
And it'd be like a no, I don't. I need you to say what you mean and mean what you say.
Words cohesively, coherently in a sentence. But the problem is we so a lot of the collective energy is reacting to the messages and the indoctrination. It gets so deep because at the foundation, when you really truly truly stand and live and seek truth, you it all goes back to the water. I think me and Rod spoke on this the last show where it was just like the water is what is like the most physical, like to the spiritual, it is the physical of like all spiritual essence. So like the 0 point energy, right? Zero, it ties into a superfluid of what they call quala or prana or chi, like being able to harness that infinite energy, or nem for like anime watchers out there. And it's just being able to tap into that infinite power source. What is that? What is that? What is its form take on? It's a form of water. It's plasmatic energy. And it's tangible and yet intangible because in Star Wars they called it the Force.
Mm.
But you seen the people get moved because your subconscious doesn't recognize the real from fake. So your subconscious believes that you can do stuff like that. I know I could fly.
You can't tell me different. Just like astral projection or being awake in my dreams to where that's how I know I can travel. I can be on the other side of the planet or on another planet altogether where this
Exactly.
avatar is here, yet my spirit or my soul is in another location. Or your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town.
And this is where we get into that above and below because your mind is still here, but it's just operating on a different polarity.
Okay. Sweet. Okay, so where's my other question? Okay, so now my other one, because you mentioned the numbers. Um, what
Yes,
year are
I'm
we
here.
at?
What year are we in?
Hmm.
Well, that depends on what celestial body you're looking at because we can go off of the. It's so interesting you ask because my name is Timmy Time Titan as a Messiah signature. So I count space, which is better than keeping time because where's all the time?
Time does not exist where, at least not in my realm. So,
Right. So you look at the kulaks or the clocks that dictate your navigation of time. But instead of the clock doesn't tell you read the clock doesn't tell time. You tell what time it is by reading the clock. So where is all the time? You are time. You make the time based off of what you're experiencing in the present because you can only exist now. So is your now a 5 minute time frame? Is your now a 20-minute time frame? and it comes into alignment with different calendars and cycles based off of the different celestial and planetary bodies, like the moon. The moon, and females have 13 cycles a year because it correlates to the 13 cycles of the moon. Or you can go to the 12 signs of the zodiac for the 12, 14. Let's clear that up right now. There are 14 zodiac signs, just like there are 14 tribes of Israel. There's 14 spheres on the Yetzirah Setzvah. There's 12. They show the 10 because they took off two because they told y'all about the hidden two, but nobody ever knew that it was actually four that they took off, because they can tell you that two are hidden so that you'll never search for the extra two. So it's really 14 zodiacs, which leads you to the 15th seat, which is a 1 and a 5, which equals 6. My life path, my death number, my life path number, my destiny number. I was also crowned King Adonis on June 15th, 2022, on a beach. I also have 6 Cancer placements in the 10th house, which is a 1 and a 0. And I say these things confidently because I know who I am, where I come from, and where I'm going.
Say what you mean and mean
Well,
what
now, Sharice, if you would talk about elaborate more on the year question with the number, like, what's the number? 14, 48.
So, the year for my son would be, his year would be 15, because in his manifestation, he's only been in his avatar for 15 quote unquote Gregorian years, or however
Right.
anyone would register time as. So this year would be year 15 for him, not year 2023. And then for someone else, it would be year 52.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's been 52 years of quote unquote Gregorian years of existence in this avatar. Someone else, it may only be year 28, but yet there are 28 individual memories
Moon
or
phases.
phases that are cycles
Mm-hmm.
that are still in the back of our memory, giving us those, okay, well, this is your year 1, here's your year 2, and that's not including the just about 9 months of gestational period in the womb, because
My
that
mom carried me for 10 months.
okay, see, that's what I was just going to get into.
And that was one of my points earlier. Not everybody's in 9 months. Some people's in other times. 7
Some are
months.
in 6 months, 7 months, some are in 10 months. So all of that time counts.
Yeah.
So you, King Adonis, you had 10 months before manifesting separated from your mother.
Right.
So you had 10 months already up under your belt. You know, you came into this realm at 10 months old.
Exactly.
So then again, how does time, quote unquote, time measure?
Right. So this is why I asked the question, where is all the time? Because time is a relative, and it's relative to your experiences, because time flies when you're having fun. So if I'm having sad experiences, you see people get in depressive states, and it's like they haven't moved on, and it's the same person that you seen 15 years ago, and they still talking about the same thing. They in the same time. They ain't move forward, not near a second, not near a minute. It's because they stuck in the same time. It's a loop.
The same time warp.
It's a loop. You get looped in.
Okay.
You get looped into different circles, looped into different crowds. Birds of a feather flock together. And if you ever seen a bird fly in a circle, that's a bad omen.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen a bird fly in a circle.
Give thanks. Because when you see like the animals, like it's the magnetism, the magnetite crystals that are in our cerebral cortex that allow for the earth, the nature, the natural pull of how energy is flowing. And if it's like it's with ants, I think they call it the death circle of ants. Once they start like walking in something that's like spherical, because they walk in a line, they're gonna continue to walk in that circle, never spiraling out. But when you get into like bees, the ants watch the bees in order to know when it's time to do certain things, because the bees are, they are quote unquote alleged tears of Ra, or tears of the sun, and honey is physical light. So when you get honey, you honey is formed in the beehive, right? And those are hexagonal, which aligns with your seven circles of your star seeds, which is the blueprint of the universe. The blueprint of the universe.
Okay.
And then that's separate from the keys to the universe, because that's just the foundation. The foundation is in the blueprint. And then you've got a working matrix. You need keys in order to turn the ignition on when you start in your car. You need the keys to be able to start different chapters to different programs, like a code. What's your key code? What's your passcode? What's your pass key? You got a wristband?
So would so-called test and trials be those keys to unlock the next level?
Your testimony, your testimony, the test went through. The test I mer, because it's interchangeable with the vowels. Mer, it's the same thing for real. So it's the test I mer, the test I watered, my navigation, my trip through the waters, my journey in this experience, my
Well, I must
creation.
say that word is in the masculine form on
Right.
some studies and things, presentations I've seen. So the testimony is the man word.
Which is why I bring it back to the water, because the water is, it's the mer, it's the mermaids and the mermen. It's the waters that house all life, and it's the foundational structure that communicates. Water speaks to water. We are water beings speaking to other water beings inside of Earth, on Earth. So we live on Earth. There are beings that live inside of our Earth. Are we trying to get deeper inside of Earth? Because we living on Earth right now.
Wow.
And that inner Earth is the external. That is the deeper waters, the deeper you go in, the further you go out. And that's how above and the below works, because it's the same thing. We're looking at a 2D image. What it like when you change your dimensional thing, we can only portray so many dimensions through these different portals.
Mm.
That's why
See,
you need
all
like
of
a
those
video of
explaining.
to show like the transitions of like the phases. That's why the moon phases, so you can see the different stages of the journey.
Okay.
So speaking on different phases of the journey, I'm gonna go back to the when I asked you to reiterate earlier on the multi selves. So we were gonna earlier go into this part of the reincarnation conversation Sharice and I had earlier. So I was talking to her about the reincarnation process. And I use my granddaughter as an example. But right now, to make my point, this one right here, before I go for it further. So I was sharing before we go in there, I would King Adonis, you bring together a few points. Let me bring these points together. So you talked about, from my point of view, what we were going to discuss today. You talked about the birds flying in around the same place, the cycles. And that brought me to a conversation that I shared with Cherie today. Um, I had a recent experience, and this is one of those examples of the past and the future being tied into the moment, the present moment. Um, and someone is one of them. Someone I know is one of them birds that keep flying around in a circle. Just have this, and has out loud told me, "Wow, I ended up in the same place where I was at 6 months ago. I'm back in the same place with nothing to show for it." I'm like, so they present in the conversation I had with them prior to that, about a year ago. And I'm like, at some point, you keep doing this cycle thing. And when you come around, you see me there. The thing is, I got off that path and start going linear. So when you come around, you hear me, call me, talk to me, and somehow you see me right there with you. I've actually traveled on. And the thing is, for them, that's when I realized the Charlie Brown school teacher kicked in. Womp, 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 womp. This is the bird on the circle. This the person. That person, I promise you can put them on a tape recorder. You rewind when the cycle come, rewind, run it back, and push play, and they saying the same thing over and over again. So as I'm saying something different, because I've moved on, all they hear from me is womp, 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 womp. And then you can probably push play and they're gonna say the same thing. And I'm like, no, X is before Y and Z, but all they hear is what I probably said that time in the cycle before, which was probably 1, 2, 3. In their mind, they have me right there in their circle saying 1, 2, 3. No, I've moved on and I'm saying X is before Y and Z. But all they hear from me is womp, 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 womp. 1, 2, and 3. They just keep repeating in their cycle. They keep hearing me say the same thing. But out here, I'm hearing them say the same thing. I'm saying something different. So
It ain't registering.
Yeah, they don't hear. They hear that they got their conversation and mine at that time on repeat. They don't hear anything outside of that. And I need people to be aware of that. You know somebody and they keep saying the same thing regardless of what you say. It's like I could say all the buildings are now spherical. All they continue to hear from me is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So they say the same thing, same thing. That means it's time to separate. It's time to let go. So I talked to that person a few days ago, and I was like, I caught myself because I got pulled into that circle that you talking about, the spiral. I got caught up in the spiral. I got
In the
caught
loop.
up in
In the
the
loop.
loop.
Because you spiral out. You spiral up or you spiral down. The loops,
Okay, I
those it's
spiraled
a lot.
out that bitch.
Yeah.
I spiraled out that bitch. So I got caught up and I caught myself. And I was like, hold up. We did this before. I'm not doing this again. I straight told him, I don't know why or how I get caught up like that, but that's unacceptable. And I cut the call. Today, because I talked to Cherie about my Facebook post. You know, in Facebook, they got your memory section. So I'll share my memories sometimes. Sometimes in life, I actually go to the memories tab and look at all of them because they only show you 1 or 2 by default. And you people go on my Facebook or they follow me and look at my history post, they can tell when I'm going in the memories section because it's like 5 memories. Most time people only post or reshare 1 memory on Facebook. If you see me doing 2 or more, that means I'm in that memories category.
Right.
And I'm looking at like, wow. So for example, I saw where I was 2 years ago, I had a video and all you seen was my feet on this workout machine. And I'm sitting there talking about my body goals and all this other stuff. And then I'm looking at the memory. It was 2 years ago. I said, 2 years ago today, I've probably only been in the gym 3 times since then. So I'm checking myself right now, like, girl, do you know what you could look like right now if you had been consistent in that gym for 2 years? No, what we not gonna do is let this be another 2 years. Got to change this up. Because in 2 years, I can look back and say, okay, I was there and I'm here now. We got to do better. Period. Now, this is what happened. I was like, post. This post I shared 2021 on Facebook. It came up today. So the conversation I have with that person about this got to get cut. I cannot do this cycle. I don't know how I keep getting caught up in this conversation type. I don't know how this could progress. It's not. This post came up today as my answer to my question. How do I keep getting caught up? So Morpheus Neo, y'all know him on Facebook. He posted this November 2021, and it was on the 20th. So that right there lets you know somewhere we've gained a day, because today is the 21st. Or I ain't gonna front. Maybe he made the post on the 20th, but I didn't see it till the 21st, and I posted on the 21st. Either way, the post says, in this shift, these thoughts and feelings are not yours. Timelines are merging. Now, this guy, Morpheus Neo, this brother, he is phenomenal in the mind. So at that time, I was really, really following him. So I probably share everything but not because it'd be in my memories. But he had his moments where I would share it. It looked like it was important. It would mean something to somebody. 2 years later, it means something to me. What it's saying to me is I was getting caught up in that person, want to circle around like a bird, because the timeline of that cycle, those thoughts and feelings about this time last year, I'm tapping into those thoughts and feelings now, this time period. The timelines are merging means, because I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna be 48 on so-called Friday. All right, 49. I'll be 49 on Friday. So this is how I'm visualizing this. Right next to me is my 48-year-old self. At that time, I'm 48 now, but y'all know what I'm saying. Yeah, it was almost my birthday. So I was 47, about to turn 48. So that self is right here next to me. And there is this gray, people call things gray areas. There's a gray area. There's this gray area between me and her. And I don't know what she was dealing with at that time, but like if she was working on letting things go. But what she's letting go is like radiating across the gray line. And that's what people would call a memory. You know how you'd be like, dang, where did that thought come from? It's coming from yourself. It's walking right with you, existing at the same time. And those waves and radiations of feelings and thoughts is coming through into you was talking about the biofield, is coming into your current biofield. And you was picking them up as thoughts, memories. The timelines are merging. So I was telling Cherie earlier, I'm in my head like, wow. So it's not me currently. Currently, I made up my mind. This is not happening. But my other self is like, the memory, my other self.
Because your body remembers.
My body remembers. My body is its own calendar.
Yeah.
You ain't got to tell me what day.
That's where the time is at.
To yourself, right. If you pay attention to yourself, you will know where you at. It's like out in as within, so without. You know how the seasons out there change. You know without a calendar, you know what time of the month, the time of the year it is, where you're at. If you pay attention to yourself, and without outside, you could tell what time of the year it is by embracing and feeling and focusing on yourself. So I told Cherie, you know what this means? This means I'm about to be 49. That means I got 48 versions of me. We all standing next to each other. From birth, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. There is 48 of us, 49. I'm going to my 49th self. There is 49 of us walking together all the time. And this will go probably more into where people talk about healing your inner child. Some of that stuff happened. It probably ain't a part of that no more. It ain't none of that I carry. Because somewhere probably when I was 10 or something, before I was 7, I probably forgot, but it's in here. And I deal with it. And in some parts, somewhere I healed it, didn't even realize I healed it. And as people say, we are a product of our environment. We are a continuous product of our environment. We are a continuous representation of who we have been and who we are. So I've been checking myself. I've been going through a lot today and yesterday, and imagining my 48 of me standing right here, walking this walk with me. We got things to do. And it ain't doing a gym video this year. And then in 2 years, talking about, dang, I only been to the gym 3 times in 2 years. Y'all got me. As King Adonis said, y'all know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying? Yeah, what's your views on this 48 me's over here?
It's all you. It's your body.
Look at her. Girl, go sit down somewhere. She gonna go sit down. And you know, people be talking about personalities. Them is not, some of them ain't personalities. Some of them is your past selves. So when people be, who is that? Cody? He be on here. Hey there, Empress, Joy Allen, Joyous Rom, Tish Nicole. He need to put plus 48 on that. Because them 40, they over there. We ain't even talking about them ones over there who helped shape the Empress and Joy Allen and Joyous Rom and Tisha Nicole. Cody, put some plus
Oh
48
my
on
gosh,
my
that's
name.
so interesting.
Respect plus 48 on my name.
Like,
Please.
it's just it's your experiences. It's all of those layers that you had to go through in order to become the 2-in-1, to the Trinity. Because it's the 1, 2, 3 that is so powerful. Like 2, 1, 3 is my angel degree, and I say that because it's a 6. 2 + 1 + 3 is 6. Back to my destiny and death and life. It's the same thing because it's the dark and the light and the light and the dark. And I actually have a teaching tool. But before I get to that, it's funny you talk about like these different layers of self, right? Because I present myself to the world as King Adonis. When I was born on like into this realm, when they start counting that whole thing, on that paperwork that they did without my permission, because I am sovereign now and fully competent of my own standing, it it was Timothy Williams, but everybody in my family calls me Dino from the dinosaur from the Flintstones, or my cousin, he used to call me Bam Bam, like. But then my uncle Michi used to call me Scales because I used to look like a dragon when I was when I wasn't moisturized. It looked like Scales, like literally. No, my mom said that I literally used to shed like a snake. But the body gets a whole new skin every 30 days. So we all shed. But it's just to talk about the different layers of self and to really like be able to really grasp people. You really got to ask questions. Like, it's so crazy how people approach. In the approach alone, it's always a demand or a request. But oftentimes, then it should be, it's never a check-in to see where you're at or see where the other person is at before you're able to pull on their energy. Because if we're trying to pour from empty cups, we're gonna give half-ass, and nobody wants that. because it's quality over quantity every time. You're always gonna go for the quality. And in this journey of reinvention of all of ourselves, we got to start with ourselves, because that is the 23 years of existence that that this vessel has been walking around on, breathing in this air. But that's not to go without mentioning the 7 generations of women that carried the eggs to bring forth my vessel here today. Because it's the mitochondria that the mother gives to the daughter and to her sons that have the energy. Father's maybe, mother's baby. I am my mother's child. I love my father, but I'm my mother's child. That's why they honor Mother Mary and baby Jesus, because it's the mother and the child. It's the big mama and her grandson, her great soul, the son.
Okay. You teach
And
and
that's
teach.
where
Would
we
you
get the
speak
Keep
on
energy.
the
Say it again.
would you King Adonis, what you say?
I said that's where we get the energy from. That cycle.
Okay. Make sure what you say.
I said he teaching, teaching. Keep cooking.
Okay, first though, would you like to speak on the mitochondria, Cherie?
Yeah, so yeah, we were talking
Possibly?
about that mitochondrial
Yes. we can.
DNA and how if I have my daughter and then my daughter has, well, first of all my eggs that are in me that were in my mother, that were in her mother, way back then, I was still there way back then. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
in somebody's egg that was 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 perpetually inside of that mitochondrial. Okay, so for
Those
me to,
people that's on the screen is unrelated to us.
yeah,
Go
no.
ahead.
So for me to continue on, my son doesn't carry on my gene. My daughter carries on because the eggs that are inside of her were inside of me, still carrying on those memories, the DNA, the genealogy, uh, just like the star seeds or the stars. When even when one star goes dim, another one become we see another one light in the sky. So there's like an exchange of energy that never dies. It's just perpetual. It never ends. That's how our mitochondrial is. It continues us on and on and on. But then again, of course, I get too excited. When we don't have a daughter, or some of us that don't have children to carry on our seed, what happens to that energy? Does it just go back out into to the northern lights, southern lights, and just rotate around until it finds its next avatar to acquire? Or does it go back into like Joy and her granddaughter? Not your granddaughter, your mother's granddaughter. So your mother is in your door is in Empress Moonfox. So Empress, your mother found her avatar that she came back as, or um, the mitochondrial found its way back into the same DNA sequence. In other words, am I making sense here?
Yes, absolutely. It's so for me, the whole like reincarnation thing, like ancestors, like you are your ancestors. And as far as like reincarnation and coming back, it's a matter of whether or not like your soul is heavier and like it's just that's like a whole that's a whole different like show in itself. Um it's yeah, I could do a whole
We came here
presentation on
prepared to
that.
do a part two.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Because when you get into the DNA is essentially that mother that I was referring to, is the mother of all that we experience on this physical realm. And it's not that the energy dissipates, because energy never dies. It gets transmuted and transformed because we are ever expanding. So that's why, like, excuse me, that's why in ancient times or times before, they focused on death. And that's why I mentioned my death path number and my life path number being the same in one, because in order for you to know your life path, you have to know your death path, because we die multiple times in this life. We die as different personalities. We die, our ego dies over and over and over again, where we have different realizations, different aha moments, different creations and experiences and connections with the people around us that allow for us to be able to blossom into new possibilities, new timelines. I remember when I was young, I went to sleep drinking Mountain Dew, and I had a dream that I got shot in a drive-by. That wasn't me, because I'm sitting here right now. But I woke up having that memory of that experience and have it to this day. So that was a self and a reality that was not safe. I never drink soda again, I promise you.
I guess not.
But it's not to say that all soda is bad, it's just the fact that like my body consciousness is given it speaks in different ways, like doing certain things that you're doing is gonna lead to this. And it's up to you to make a conscious choice, because your body is your spirituality. It is your spiritual technology. Because if we didn't need these bodies to be seen and be heard, we wouldn't use them. So they have a purpose. And like I say, my body is my book of life. I'm experiencing my body.
I like that. You're experiencing your body, not your body experiencing you.
Right. And then my body teaches me different things, because my body is a part of the earth. It comes from the earth and has been a part of the earth for eons, since she has been here for eons. So I am her and she is me. I am him and he is me. I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. I am a guardian of the earth. I am a guardian of her children. I am which I am and choose to be. Nothing and everything. Thus saith the Lord.
That's Big Mama's son there, okay?
Okay, and there goes that Bible reference we started out with. I mentioned my mama studied the Bible. I said we weren't gonna get into it, so I said we might. So that's all the mic y'all gonna get today.
Yeah.
You know, we have projected to be here. We projected to be here about 2 hours. We coming up on that time, kind of. Oh, we started late. Okay, so I'm looking at things wrong. All right. So definitely we gonna come back with a part two, because when Sharice and I were talking, I took notes, and we have not covered half of those notes. So yes, part two. Now, because this was last minute. Again, if you missed it, roll it back for the full story. But we coming here to you today by way of this hawk sitting on my car today.
Wow. This is the third time a hawk has popped up in my alignment for today. Wow. Gratitude,
Ah,
synchronicity. The first one, somebody
okay.
asked me Hawk or Falcons. The second one was in a safe space meeting. somebody asked me about they were talking about being reborn and no longer needing to be reborn, like going through that phoenix process. Once you're
Okay.
embracing your Hulk like essence, becoming that, you know, the difference between Bruce Banner and Hulk, being able to control your emotions, having your emotional thinking intelligence, three motion thinking nine, from the creativity to the divine nine vibration. Come on, gratitude, Elohim.
Come on,
But
son.
I am that which I
Okay.
am, and
So
it's
yeah, run
just
that story. Okay, go ahead.
it's the Hawks. The Hawks is a sign of like passion and fire
Okay.
and emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah, I did ask for to hear someone else's interpretation of what this hawk looking at me, looking at the building I came out of, and sitting on my car, returning to my car meant. So we could talk more about that later, definitely in part two and stuff. Now I would like for us to now I don't know what y'all gonna do. I would like to share like my closing point for today, myself. And after that, I'm gonna sit back is my plan and hear y'all and engage in your stories, your perspectives. Now, what was you we just talking about? Mitochondria, and we're using my grandchild as an example today for reincarnation. This her right here, Moon Fox. She named herself. So let's look at this picture again, unrelated to any of us on the panel, as we may know. Sharice talked about my mother coming forward again through my granddaughter Moon Fox. Okay, so this is where we're gonna go. We're gonna use these people as an illustration though. So let's say this Moon Fox, let's say this me, and let's say this is my daughter, who is Moon Fox's mom. So my mother's not pictured here. So what is not is an example pictured here. So leading into more of what is going to come up in part two, I have Sharice and I. Cherie mentioned the was it who cloned Tyrone?
Clone Tyrone.
Who cloned Tyrone? So we go in this story, and you had mentioned they did something with the lights.
Yes, when
And
they were activating the new avatar, they put the
mhm,
veil or this bright light, a square box, like a memory box
mhm,
over the eyesight or this area, frontal lobe,
mhm. Okay, yeah.
inputting memories, images, whatnot into the avatar. And
Okay.
then the
Which
avatar
take
was reanimated.
yes. Yep. Okay, so that takes me back to one of my first points we started with today, and which is going to lead me to again my last point tonight. So the memory wiping. Okay. So again, here when we get here, the memory wiping, one of the processes is the birth, the what you call it, hospital. What you got
That
the birthing light,
hospital.
hospital, and that light that's in the baby's face when they first arrive, it starts the wiping out process of their memory, which I say is their first light, their first son. Then those who are not born of that birthing light experience, their first son is the one that's in the sky that we all painted yellow in preschool and kindergarten. It's not yellow. Y'all help brainwash yourself. Now, this is my point also. Going possibly into part two, more and more in part two. There was a Facebook post that I had seen recently. It's been like a theme on this person's page, and they were speaking about, they used Jean Grey. Speaking of King Adonis, I'm telling you, talk about synchronicity. Everything you talking about. Cherie and I discussed it. I promise. The Phoenix. You just talked about the Phoenix. Jean Grey is like been one of the topics of this person's Facebook page that I'm referencing right now. And this person talked about how they showed an image of the comic strips and the X-Men and all this, and they was discussing how your story has already been written. They talking about you now that you're here. Your story has already been written. Now that person has their interpretation with everything going on today in this hawk on my car. Then my granddaughter calling me right after. I'm receiving this full message, this message in part right now because there's more to come in this future. So thing is this. This is how your story was already written. So like, for example, what you showing us?
We got tarot cards for confirmation.
Look, King Adonis. We talked about my granddaughter being a tarot reader in the beginning of this show. Come on with that synchronicity. Play with me. Play with me. I need you to rewind and watch this later. Rewind, watch this. Okay. Own it. So this is my thing, my thought. This is how your story get written before you're here. So we going back to this picture. So no, right quick. My mother transitioned. So we talk about my mama. People who know her talk about my mama. Moon, and you know what? I'm actually use her. She here, her picture here. Moon Fox. She's sitting around at the gatherings, the family functions, however, whatever. She's sitting at home with her mother. Her mother is telling her stories of my mother, and she is actually hearing the stories of herself because she is my mother. My mother's already lived her life. That's the story being told by way of those who are here after my mother's transition. And then Moon Fox is hearing about herself. That's how your story is pre-written. She's hearing about herself, not realizing she's hearing about herself. And then there's parts of our stories of my mother that she resonates with and parts she may not. Let's say I ain't talking about my mama. I'm talking about, let's say we talking about my mother and a few of her sisters or some cousins. Those parts of the stories that's about my mother, Moon Fox gonna resonate with them. Whether we say my mama's name or not, she's resonating with that. The auntie and the cousin story, she's like, okay, I'm listening. But when it comes to the stories about my mother, that's the part where she'll perk up and she'll turn her ear up a little louder and she'll take it in and listen. Now, I don't know how many ways I just went around my point, but as King Adonis already let y'all know, I'm about to say, y'all know what I mean. You know what I mean? So yes, your story pre-written. So in this example, my mama, her name is Marilyn. Marilyn's story, she lived her story. When she transitioned, we continue to tell her story. Moon Fox picking up this ear of hers, not realizing we're talking about her. Her story is pre-written. And for today, that's my spiel, that's my piece. I appreciate y'all. Will both of y'all elaborate on that for me further, please? Cherie first, if you don't know.
Well, I already spoke on it earlier, but your mother, then you, then your daughter, then your granddaughter, and how your mother found her. She waited for the right the right avatar to reanimate in, and then again, as she chose to date, this was my interpretation of the hawk. She chose that hawk to come and let you know that, hey, I've got a message for you. Now I need to talk to you. I need to let you know something. And the hawk stayed until the message was delivered, until you started just regurgitating information. And you didn't
Yeah,
even
because she came and talked to me through Moon Fox phone call. So when you said she needed to talk to me, she had Moon Fox call me and talk to me. But I'm listening.
So again, just like Joy said, I want to see, or I would like to hear your take on this hawk, because this hawk did not leave. The hawk, she knew exactly where she was looking at. She knew where she was landing. She looked back from Joy to Joy's, I'm going to say your daughter's apartment, and then back to you, and then back to your daughter's apartment. So she knew. That's why I said, okay, that's either your mother or your grandmother. That's somebody that knows directly who she's speaking to, and
Mm-hmm.
listen for the message. So if you can elaborate on that, please, can you guys? Yeah, this bird
Yes.
flew. I mean, the it went from Joy's car to the roof to the grass and then to the sign in a span of like 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of the roof. I was like,
And that's just the magnetism of the love that the birds they carry messages. And like last week I woke up one day and there was 50 crows. I say 50 because I didn't get a count, but there was a flock of two trees full of crows in my alleyway, like in the trees in my backyard. And less than 10 minutes later, they were all gone. Like I didn't hear not one fly away. You would hear a bunch of birds flying away because my window's open because I sunbathe every morning, right? So then the next rising, I get up, go to sunbathe, open my window, open my phone. There's a rainbow painted right directly above my house. So I'm like, these birds, and this the messages, the synchronicities, the symbolism that the world is given, because what the cards is pulling is talking about the mama bear star and the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, which is the mama and the turtle, and America's Turtle Island. One thing about me is I was gifted a golden eye, or a golden spiral, a golden philosophy of the change of the world to come. And in this change of the world, you see the seeds, those circles behind her. If you can't, it's right here. It's the blueprint of the universe. It's the blueprint of the cosmic multiverse. Because in death, they call it the blossom of death. When you put this, the flower of life is really known as the blossom of death. And the reason why is because it's the death is because in death it creates life. It's the cycle. It's the dark in the light and the light in the dark. And gratitude for this new day, this new ray day of divine love and alignment and energetic awareness, syncretisms, and healing for the collective and the earth herself and our bodies as we embark on a new journey together. Gratitude. And that's just my daily information on the 0000 military time.
Peace 000 military. It
So,
is. Um, we have been here a couple hours, so I'm going to
can't
say,
hear you.
can you hear me now? No, you can't hear me?
I can hear you the whole time.
Okay,
Is it me?
could have been.
I can't
That's
hear
all right.
nothing.
I can hear her. You may want to go leave out and come back in. Sometimes that happens to the guests. They can only hear one person. King Adonis, you can hear me?
Uh-oh. Well, that's all right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, give me one moment.
Yep, go out and come
Okay,
back.
leave out and come back in. Yep. Go ahead, Matriarch.
I was just going to say that I've really thoroughly enjoyed this conversation this evening, or not even conversation, but this steel sharpening steel, bouncing information off of each other. I appreciate uh, having the energies to get information from, as well as to share with everybody. Me learning right along with you, and and us learning together at the same time. Yes, okay. That fruit, the forbidden fruit you over there eating. No, they said that was what it wasn't the apple, it was the pomegranate. So they said. You know what I'm saying?
We're talking about what Adam and Eve. For those
Yes.
who don't see, there go y'all other Bible reference. Y'all got another mic today. Y'all got another mic. King Adonis, you can hear us,
Yes, ma'am. Gratitude for the
and we can
alignment.
hear you the whole time. Go ahead, we listening. No, we can't hear you. King Adonis, what happened to your sound? We cannot hear you. Okay. But matriarch, you were saying forbidden
That
fruit.
yeah, the forbidden fruit. You over there eating the pomegranate, talking about some you not gonna bring the Bible into this, yet your grandmother and your mother is all up in and through the conversation as they have been all day long, and then you over there, snacking on, sometimes
The
you
whole
can't
time.
avoid.
Can't avoid that damn Bible.
Okay,
Can you
it's
hear me
just a
now?
book.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Awesome. It be that resistance.
Okay,
Okay.
sometimes the energy be so strong that it'll cut some of us off or attempt to
Attempt.
that way.
Yep.
Attempt.
But it's
So
so funny because the Three of Cups came out too, and it's these three different women in their different ages,
mm,
and the Dipper, which is the bear star or the turtle star, I forget which one, and it's the energy of the celestials, the stars above, the macro stars, the celestials, the deities that they talk about, like Julio and Juno. It's the planets. It's the planetary bodies that are affecting our inner bodies. And once we start truly getting a connection on and communication with our inner worlds, then we'll be able to really have better conversations about developing the world that we wish to create.
okay, so can I have something to say before, or so that we can all just kind of shut this one down on this last note?
Yeah.
Flat Earth, is it? And I'll land on that because I know that even if we say it is flat, it ain't flat. We still got mountains and hills and etc. So I'm not going to argue about one level plane, but is it?
If the earth's flat for you, it's that. If the earth is not flat for you, then it ain't. If it's with whatever ideology that people must come to in order for them to feel loved by the universe, to feel love within their bodies, to be loved by everything that ever was, is, and will be, simply be. Because you are here on earth, whether it is flat, round, you're here. So just be. And with that, gratitude for all tapping in now, past, and in the future.
I appreciate everybody that tapped in with us and look forward to you all tapping in with part two because we didn't
Yeah,
even.
matriarch, you gonna share your view of flat Earth?
Well, I, my view is that even if someone says it is flat, it's still not flat because we have hills and valleys and curves and humps. And even at the end of the axis, I'm still going to see that mirror reflection. So as above, so below.
All right.
Gratitude.
Um,
Gratitude.
on the way out, again, I spoke my piece. I'm enjoying my pomegranate, my Bible fruit.
A
And I'm gonna play this prepared video. We're gonna share this in part 2 as well. Peace, y'all. Peace, y'all. Peace. What we got here? Stand by for me.
Tesla.
Yeah.
Has blood on his hands.
Hell yeah.
And he wants to go to outer space. Just like every other billionaire. I need to go to outer space. What's out in outer space?
Why y'all trying to go out there?
Hold on. And they never make it. The rocket shit hits the firmament and the firmament stops it. Ain't nobody been to the moon. Ain't nobody been outside this giant cage that we're trapped in. The firmament is real. This is why rocket ships take off and they start shooting at an angle. They'll scrape the firmament and they always land in the ocean. Then they shoot some grainy film that they were on the moon. It scraped the surface of the firmament, landed. That's all in one day. But the landing is like a week later. But that's when they show it. All the shit happened in one day.
The landing is the coming back.
There's no satellites out there either, nigga.
Yeah, because they ain't about to be out there floating.
There's no satellites.
You don't. Rockets, they have so many compartments that break off when you go. So how is the shit the same when it lands?
Yeah.
Same as it takes off.
Or even the satellite. You got
No, there's no satellites. They are hanging satellites in the firmament. This is our GPS system. They screwing shit into the firmament, and that's the permanent GPS system. They call it space. But the space between Earth and God is called the firmament. And until he opens that up, it's going to be continued. Firmament.
So this is prison planet.
Pretty much. We're his pets. Imagine having hamsters and they wild a motherfucker. If you let them out, they eat your dog and your cats. You gotta have a cap on it, don't you? That's called the firmament. It's in the Bible. Nothing will get through the firmament.
So is it a shape of a snow globe?
No, flat Earth is real. Right? The world is not round. If it was, I could disprove this many times. But anyway, there's an ice wall around our three-dimensional world called Earth that lays on a two-dimensional plane. Right? There's an ice wall. This ice wall is connected to other so-called Earths, where dinosaurs live, boom, boom. But we're trapped in the center on this planet in an ice wall. This is why, if you fly from anywhere on Earth to Australia, to Antarctica, why do you always have to fly to England?
Damn.
To make it seem like the world is round, you had to travel that far. From Florida to Antarctica is about four and a half hours on a straight shot. So why the fuck you gotta fly from Florida to London and then there? Anywhere you come from, you gotta go to London and London and then there.
What are you laying over?
No, you're going to London because them reptilians there said you must come through there.
Good day, good day. Peace, love, light, laughter.
Gratitude for all who are joining.
Let me look at this right here with y'all.
Yes, we are.